book lovers, it is GSwiz here, and I'm here today with the twice a year book tag. So this tag was originally created by Beck at Beckle Books. I will link their channel down in the description where you can check them out. I have loved doing this tag for the last couple of years, and I'm excited to do it again. If I am awkward at any point of this video, it is because I have not filmed in like a week and a half or two. And yes, you probably would not have noticed that by how much content I've been putting out, at least one video a week. But yeah, I am really awkward in talking right now. I hope I have the words to say. I've written everything down, so that's a good start. I've mentioned it before, if you've been keeping up with some of the written updates and some of my recent videos, this year has been a pretty challenging year on my end. I haven't gone into detail, and I don't think I will go into massive detail, but it's been a very challenging reading year. I'm still getting the reading done, funnily enough, but as of the moment, I'm not as emotionally invested. I'm reading a lot of manga and short stories to make up for the fact that I'm not as emotionally invested in some of the more dense reads, but yeah, it is what it is, and I hope that 2024 can be one of my favorite reading years of all time. Right now, I've just completed the first quarter of reading. I hope the first quarter of reading does not define where the rest of the year is going to go. I hope that my mental state within the first quarter is not going to define how things are going to go for the rest of the year, but we will see. I will go into depth about everything as we go through this check-in, so I guess without further ado, let's get straight into this tag. The first question for the twice a year tag is, how many books do you think you'll read this year? And honestly, with how much manga I have been consuming this year so far, I would definitely not be surprised if I read 300 things again. Last year I read 350 works. I might get to that again, but I'm just gonna estimate 300 at the moment. Just in case my manga reading does slow down at some point, I'm consuming a lot of manga and I'm reading a lot of short books to make up for the fact that I am struggling to read the more dense stuff. Eventually I will get into the more dense stuff, and I'm kind of hoping, fingers crossed, that the dense stuff will kind of take over. But for now, I'm just reading the manga, and at times I'm also reading the trash. And that is just how it is. So far as I'm filming this video, I've actually read 100 things within this year. I'm definitely proud of myself considering the circumstances and how I've been feeling mentally. I do read to cope with my real life, but then my real life is affecting some of my reading patterns, unfortunately. So even if it means that I'm getting through a lot of the manga that's on my TBR, I am still happy that I am getting through that manga because I got a lot of manga on my TBR. So at least I'm useful in some way. Question number 2 is, have you made a specific reading goal or target that you need to check in with or keep track of? I made many at the very beginning of this year, and I did not even consider the fact that I would be in a massive depression. I mean, I never consider that fact. But funnily enough, I've noticed that every 5 years, my depression spirals, like really badly. 2014, that happened. 2019, that happened, and it's 2024. I keep on telling myself that 2024 is going to be my year, and it looks like it's going to be a year of character development for me because of what on earth is going on. Anyway, I'm not here to complain. 4 is my favorite number, okay? So that's why I said that 2024 is my year. I did want to complete the 24 books I want to read in 2024. TBR, maybe I might, but as of now, considering that I'm going through what I'm going through, I'm not going to push myself to do it. That TBR is more of a suggestion. If I'm actually in a better mental state, who knows, maybe the second time I do this tag this year, I will be in a better mental state. I'm really hoping that I will be. 5-star predictions. That TBR is not like a strictly yearly TBR. So far though, I have read 1.5 books that was on that TBR, and I gotta say that so far it's going pretty well. My rereads TBR, I mean, that's going pretty successfully so far. Considering that I recently reread the first 6 books in the 7-book series, I mean, that was fun. And I reckon that that is a doable TBR. My series TBR, usually my series TBR for a year is very doable. But right now, I cannot predict how things are gonna go within the next few months. I really cannot, as I'm filming this video. I think that that is actually a great thing about filming this video, because maybe after this video is posted, I might just surprise myself. And then all of a sudden, everything is well again. Like, maybe I might just get my reading mojo back. But at the very same time, this is a great place to check in with where I am at and, you know, maybe just manage my expectations as well. I think that this check-in is good for both things. But anyway, funnily enough, I also, at some point point wanted to do an A to Z TBR challenge for this year, and I never posted that video. And I also did not post a new self-destructing TBR video. I don't necessarily feel comfortable with doing that until I'm in a better headspace, because I don't want to just make a TBR and then just not get to it. That is actually where I struggled with my initial self-destructing TBR. I wanted to get to every single one of the books. Unfortunately, I did not, and I want to give these books a fair chance, so I'm just gonna wait for a bit for the fog to kind of settle, and then we'll see how I go. Question number 3 is, how many 5-star books have you read so far this year? This year has not been terrible in terms of 5-star reads. I have read 10 5-star reads, but I feel kind of sad about the amount of 5-star reads, considering that 3 of them are rereads and 2 of them are like short stories. And so far, I've read like 100 things this year, so I was kind of expecting to have more 5-star reads so far, but yeah, that didn't happen. Okay, so the first one I have to mention is Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue. This I read at the very beginning of the year, and I loved it. I might actually just reread this maybe very soon. And the reason why I might probably like listen to the audiobook very soon is because I believe that this is the kind of book that can get me through this very dark time. I mean, as I'm filming this video, I'm currently reading a bunch of dark and trashy stuff, and I reckon that this book series might just also be a good time for me during this time. I am so here for this, so I cannot wait to reread Her Soul to Take. But I was actually pleasantly surprised by this book because I've heard great things, but I wasn't like 100% convinced, and oh boy, I had a very fun time. Yes, it's like very over the top dark and kinky at times, but it was just a very fun time, and I cannot wait to continue on with the series. I just know that the rest of it is going to be good, and I want so many different special edition sets for this book series. Please and thank you. Not Here to Make Friends by Jodi McAllister. Now, I've read books by Jodi McAllister previously. Jodi McAllister's Valentine was one of the first books I had posted a review for on my channel. I think it was the first ARC I received by a publisher. So I have loved Jodi's works for years. But hear me out. Not Here to Make Friends, in my personal opinion, is Jodi's best work so far. I'm so blown away by it. It is a very well-written romance novel with perfect flashback scenes. Like, oh my goodness. The way that this book was written narratively and the dual POV, it was perfect in my opinion. I do love the rest of the books in the series, but this final book in the series tied things up so well, and I just love Lily Fireball so much. Lily Fireball is meant to be like the antagonist of this reality TV show, kind of like The Bachelor. She's the protagonist of this novel. Her story is perfect. I did not expect to love Lily this much because I've read the previous books. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, she's just getting in the way. Like, why is she doing this? Now I know why. This book explains why, and it's perfect. And yes, as I mentioned, my rereads that I gave 5 stars, or, you know, like they stayed 5 stars because I have not like bumped the ratings up or down. Always Only You, Ever After Always, and With You Forever, all by Chloe Leese. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th books in the Bergman Brothers series. I love these 3 books so much. I highly recommend the series. It is my favorite contemporary romance series at the moment. I still have not yet read the final book as I'm filming this video. I'm so excited to get to Viggo's love story, and I'm honestly hoping it does impress, because if it doesn't impress, then I will be so disappointed. I keep on saying that this is my favorite contemporary romance series of all time at the moment, but I need to know that for certain. I know that Only You Forever will probably give me that closure. Maybe. And the 2 short stories that I gave a 5 out of 5 stars this year were The Exception to the Rule by Christina Lauren and Royal Valentine by Soraya Wilson. Soraya Wilson's story is not necessarily my favorite over Christina Lauren's, but I still really enjoyed the story, and I actually wanted a full-length novel following these 2 characters so bad. It was not perfect, but at the time it made me feel a lot of things. So on my spreadsheet, I rated it a 5 out of 5 stars. That is interesting, but I did that. I'm not gonna bump my rating down right now because it made me feel a lot of things at the time I read it. But The Exception to the Rule is my favorite Christina Lauren work. Like, I honestly reckon that the writing duo Christina Lauren, they write the best novellas. I will read so many novellas from them. Oh my goodness. Like, The Honeymoon Crashers was so much better than The Unhoneymooners, and so much better than some of the other novels that I've read from them. And then The Exception to the Rule comes out, and it's like the best thing I've ever read from them. them. It just blows my mind how amazing this novella is. I love it so much. And I seriously need you all to read it. If you are a romance lover like myself and you do struggle with short stories, I would still encourage you to try this one out. It just felt like I had followed these characters for a long time. Over the months that they were communicating with each other, over the years that they were communicating with each other, I got so attached to these characters. I need a lot of people to try this one out, please. And then last but certainly not least, all the books in the Crowns of Nyaxia series so far, The Serpent and the Wings of Night, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, and the novella Six Scorched Roses. I loved all three of these. All three of these got a 5 out of 5 stars. Unfortunately, all these 5-star books did not top The War of Lost Hearts for me yet, and some of the series that I did read last year. I am hoping that I will get there again. I was kind of hoping that The Serpent and the Wings of Night would top The War of Lost Hearts, and I think the reason why I was hoping that it would was because so many people in my life have been recommending this book series to me. Barely anyone in my life has recommended The War of Lost Hearts to me, but everyone is screaming about The Serpent and the Wings of Night and The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King and Six Scorched Roses. A lot of people are saying that this series is amazing, and it is amazing. It's just not as amazing as The War of Lost Hearts, in my personal opinion. But I love this series so much, and I'm actually planning to reread the series as well. I think that this series deserves a better mental state from me, because as much as I enjoyed my reading experience, in the last third of The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, while I was reading it, I was really depressed. I was going through a really dark time in my personal life. Honestly, I'm doing everything I can in my physical power to make sure that I am eventually going to be at my healthiest mental state. Like, I'm working out 4 times a week. I'm eating healthily. I'm seeing my GP for assistance. It's just life circumstances at the moment have not been kind. And life circumstances were definitely not kind the week that I was reading The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. So I'm hoping that the week that I read the series again, that it will be better, and that I will actually give this series my undivided attention, and I will give it a happier mood. Honestly, because I think that Krista Broadbent's books deserve that, in my personal opinion. The only thing that should put me in a sad mental state is if I read the books and I get super emotional over them, not over what's going on in the background, you know? These books were really good, and I'm hoping that eventually I can reread these. I'm planning to reread these in the lead up to another project by Carissa Broadbent that's happening later this year, which I will discuss in another prompt. Question number 4 of this tag is, what is a popular book you own that you haven't read yet? House of Beating Wings. I have still not read this book series. I've heard it's amazing, and I've also heard that Olivia Wildenstein's books are just amazing in general. I know that I'm gonna like them. I know that I'm gonna like so many romantasy series on my shelves, but right now I'm struggling to get into romantasy. It's just not the right time. But I'm hoping that the right time will come soon for this book series. I really want to read it this year. I believe that I put House of Beating Wings on my 24 books that I want to read in 2024. I do want to get to it, but I'm not rushing myself to get to it because I want to get better first. Prompt number 5 is, do you want to reread anything in the next few months? Yes, I do want to reread a few things within the next few months. Firstly, I want to reread Bewitched by Laura Falasa. I am so excited for the anticipated release that is to come within the series. It is definitely one of my most anticipated releases of the year. I cannot wait. And yeah, I just reckon that I'm gonna have a really good time with my reread. I think, once again, as I mentioned previously, this might just be one of those really good dark reads to read during this time. So I really do reckon that Bewitched will be read sometime very soon. The next book that I do want to reread within the next few months is The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, because the second book in the series, or the companion series rather, is gonna come out sometime soon. And I definitely cannot wait. Oh my goodness. I loved The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy the first time I read it. It is just a beautiful book. It is a very wholesome book. I think that this could also make a good potential comfort reread for me. So I might reread it sometime soon, but if not, I think I'm going to read it sometime closer to the middle of the year, because the second book, I believe, comes out in July of this year. And beside all the books that I mentioned previously, like in previous prompts that I do want to reread sometime this year, the last one I do have to mention on this list is A Light in the Flame by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I do want to reread this book in the lead up to the finale in the series. I haven't read the third book yet. I'm so excited to read the entire series. Like, honestly, I love Sarah Aniktos' story so much. I was so invested in A Shadow in the Ember and A Light in the Flame. The first times that I read them, I actually reread A Shadow in the Ember. I also really loved that. I am planning to reread A Shadow in the Ember, but I I still have not yet reread A Light in the Flame. So that's why I'm putting A Light in the Flame here. Who knows? Maybe I might skip my read of A Shadow in the Ember, but I think I'm gonna actually reread that one in the lead up to A Light in the Flame, and then I'm gonna proceed from there. I'm nervous about it because I've heard sad things about book 3, but I'm hoping that things will turn up in book 4. That's what we want for a good finale. Question number 6 is, what new release are you anticipating for the second half of the year? And I personally have a few. In fact, when I really think about it, I just heard that the Flesh and Fire finale got pushed out to the second half of the year. I think it was initially going to be May, and then I saw it in my pre-orders, and then I saw that it got pushed back. I was like really sad. So it's coming out the second half of the year. I'm really excited for Born of Blood and Ash. I think that's what it's called. As I mentioned, love Sarah and Nyktos. Like, they are an OTP of mine. And then of course I have to mention Wisteria, which is the final book in the Belladonna trilogy. Belladonna meant so much at the time that I read it, and I reckon that the rest of the series is gonna do the same for me. I think that I am gonna really emotionally connect with the rest of the series. I cannot wait to continue on with it. I still have not yet read Foxglove. I'm planning to read Foxglove eventually. I personally want to read Foxglove in the lead up to Wisteria. I just want to read the trilogy altogether because I just want to experience all the magic at once, you know? And then we've got The Undermining of Twilight and Frank. This is the sequel slash companion to The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy that I was mentioning. I'm just excited for another cozy paranormal read. For me, that's pretty much all there is to it. Like, I don't know the premise of this book at all. I don't know what this book is going to be about, but I am just excited about it because I loved the first book in this companion series, and I think I will read any book that is set within this universe. And then the final new release that I have to mention that I wrote down on my handy little list today is The Songbird and the Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent. This is the next book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. It's gonna be so exciting. I cannot wait for this series to continue. I just cannot wait for another Carissa Broadbent book in general. I love every single Carissa Broadbent book that I've read so far, so I don't doubt that I will absolutely adore this one. I cannot wait for this one. And once again, in classic G-Swizz fashion, I have not read the synopsis. I just know that there's a new book, right? I don't know what characters we're following. I don't know what court we'll be in. I don't know much about this book. I will probably find more out in the lead up to when this book comes out. I'm just so excited. Oh my goodness. This might be one of my favorite books of the year. We will see. I also have the Laura Falasa new release coming out this year, Be Spelled, but that doesn't come out in the second half of the year. That comes out earlier. I reckon that Be Spelled and this book are gonna be two of my ultimate favorite books of this year, because both of them are coming out this year, and they're two of my favorite authors of all time. I love their books so much. This year, I'm eating good, but I need to be in the right state to eat good, if you know what I mean. Because honestly, if these books were out right now, I probably would not be able to bring myself to read them because I would be protecting these books from me. I would be protecting my brain from them. I don't want to taint these books. I do not want to taint my reading experience for these books, so I'm hoping that things will turn up and that I will seriously have the best time reading these books. I don't doubt that these books are going to be amazing. I just want to make sure that I am in the right headspace to really enjoy them. And last but certainly not least, the final prompt of this tag is, what are you planning to pick up next, and do you think you'll rate it 5 stars or above? And I don't know what I'm going to pick up next as I'm filming this video, so I'm just going to mention my most anticipated release of April. And that, my friends, is Only and Forever, which is the final book in the Bergman Brothers series, from what I know so far. But, you know, it's the final Bergman sibling that we have to follow that has not yet had their love story. Unless, of course, there's a secret sibling I don't know about. What if Chloe Leese decided to reveal that this whole time there has been an 8th Bergman family member? That would be the most wild plot twist, but I'd still be here for it if we got another book within this series. But anyway, this final book in the series follows Vigo, who I've mentioned previously. We've followed him in previous books, like he's appeared in previous books, and I love Vigo. Vigo is a very fun character to follow as a side character, but I cannot wait to see him as the protagonist of his own story. I cannot wait for Only and Forever. I, for some reason, can almost guarantee that this is going to be a 4-star novel. And that's because I trust Chloe Leese with everything. I trust Chloe Leese with my life, okay? I love Chloe Leese's books so much. I love the subject matters that Chloe Leese writes about. I love the way that Chloe Leese writes about neurodivergency. And I love Vigo as a side character. I reckon that I'm really going to enjoy this novel because I'm following Vigo. But I'm really hoping it's a 5-star novel. I'm really hoping that this is an explosive finale. I need an extended epilogue at the end of it. I don't know if we'll get one, but if we're not gonna get one, then I need some sort of short story collection because I need to know where everyone else is at. I really do. Oh man, I just need this finale to be everything. I'm sorry, Chloe. I'm probably asking for too much, but I'm also kind of trusting that you'll deliver. Half the series so far has been a 5 out of 5 stars. And if the series has not been 5 out of 5 stars, some of the other books have been like 4 out of 5 stars. This series is really good so far. I reckon that this book could go either way. It could be a 4 stars or it could be a 5 stars. But one thing's for certain, it will definitely be 4 stars or above. If it's anything like Chloe Leese's other books. So I guess that's gonna be it for this video today, book lovers. If you happen to stay to the end of the video, leave me the yellow heart emoji because the Only and Forever cover is yellow. And if you happen to enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet already. Join the amazing community of book lovers. And also I have social medias. I'm at itsgswizzelbooks on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/gswizzle. And finally, I'm at TikTok. I'm at gswizzle on TikTok if you want to follow me there for some bookish content. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.
I would have and I flipped it in a double. Thought that I would have and I flipped it in a double.